So, do you understand the concept to show them the line?
Yeah.
So, whoops. In that situation here, right? Sorry a second. So in that situation here, the player's coming up the sideline, and instead of stepping in, because if she steps in, what happens? She gives her the field, okay? So she's literally showing them the line, okay? Literally until she brings her up to the 20-metre line. She brings her up to the 20-metre line, and all of a sudden, we've got players back who are able to get in a tackle. Sorry about this. That sound not working, no. Okay, so watch Noelle here, right? So she shepherds her down the sideline until eventually she's now hitting the 20-metre line now, okay? And look, the pitch has been tightened, does that make sense? And all of a sudden they're running into trouble. Now, somebody was asking me earlier, do you assist them with people, extra defenders? No, we don't, but like everyone, we have to come back. You have to come back to try and help your defence, right? So here's your own Martha, and if you look at this, and again for coaches, you have to go beyond the rules sometimes and understand. So in the men's game, if you come at me and I put my hands out and delay you and take them away, that's not a free. In the women's game it is. So we developed this thing called a clamp tackle. So literally we put our arms out like a big wingspan, and as you come into us, we literally kept our arms straight, Martha did it there, and then release. So that took the momentum out of the player, okay? Because your sternum is obviously a strong part of it. Play the way you're facing and pass and move. So watch Carla here, who's on the ball. So she's playing the way you're facing, she's passing and move. Now watch her movement, okay? Watch what happens next. Now this should have been back at the net stuff, because she played pass and move. If she played pass and stop, there was no threat there. Does that make sense? Okay? One bounce, angled runs, and I'll work. You still can't beat the foot pass in Gaelic football. See the cut and the angle of run? That's that little concept of axe from Leinster rugby. Now, do you see one bounce pass there? Do you see the one bounce pass? If you have a pen, you might take this down, right? You can add these to the concepts. A number of years back with the development squads, 2010, it was actually under 21s, we started coming up with these ideas of highest point. So when a kid goes to catch a ball, most of the time, they wait for the ball to come here, because the safety mechanism, right? So we introduced the concept highest point. Now there's a hell of a difference between that and that, okay? Because in a game, if you're doing that and someone else is going that, you're going to lose possession, okay? Then we introduced the concept of one bounce or better. So when you're kicking the ball, and again, the language around it is really important. When you kick the ball and put a scuttery ball on the deck, it's a horrible pass. But what do you call that? Do you call it a scuttery pass? So we didn't. One bounce or better. One bounce, when it comes into you on one bounce, or better is you catch it clean. Now that, going back through, through up to probably, I would say, 2013, 2012, maybe that time, right? Our kicking in Dublin was shocking. Shocking. We were awfully poor kickers of the ball. And I think it's probably one of the biggest skills that's improved right throughout the clubs, that our kicking has got better. Like the part of the game that's frustrating us at the moment is we're not kicking the ball enough. That's the part of the game. But everything will evolve, because that'll change again. But equally, when we came into this, and I hadn't been involved with girls football for maybe 13 years, and I would have done a lot of basketball in school, and I would have done a lot of soccer with the girls, but I didn't do Gaelic football because I was doing it with the lads, and I was always trying to mix it up. But one of the things that we realised when we came into the game was there was an incredible amount of hand passing. And Shane Carney, who you guys know from Coola, he's our stats man, and we started taking the ratio. So the ratio of hand passing to kick passing in the women's game, in our game, was 3 to 1. It's now the complete opposite. We're now kicking the ball 2-1, okay? So we're kicking it twice as much as we're hand passing it. And the reason for that was, we said to ourselves, we're going to move the ball quickly in a big pitch. Well, how are you going to do it through hand passing? So we didn't. We did it through kick passing. But it was a risk, because the more you kick it, there's a higher percentage of turning the ball over. But at the same time, you've got to stand by your own principles and say, well, what way do you want the game played? Okay? So, two-touch football, great shots. There's another brilliant term. Do you know what a great shot is? What's a great shot? Sorry? Sometimes. Sometimes a great shot goes over the bar, but we didn't define it like that. And this is these are one of the things that I would say to you, you know, I've changed as a coach, because, and I'll tell this story, when Kevin, my uncle, was under 11, we played Ballybowden in a whatever league game, or under 11 league game. Imagine this, under 11 league game. I mean, who'd lose any sleep over? But it was Ballybowden at the end of the day. So, at the end of the game, the gear was picked up and whatever else, and Kevin's on the car and he's leaning on the roof of the car, and one of the lads involved with the team says, "Jesus, Kevin, it wasn't that bad, you only lost by a point." And he turned and he says, "Yeah, but you don't have to go back across the Liffey with my old fella." And I remember thinking, is that the effect I'm having on him? So we made a pact that day. When I heard that, I said, okay, from now on, if you want me to critique you, you're going to ask. I'm not going to give it to you, okay? So now, inevitably, he asks, how did whatever Darren do, how did Sean do, how did I do that? And that's the way I've gone about it, because the other way, which is always I was doing, was I was getting into the car telling them, you should have done this, you should have done that. That's not the way. It's not letting them grow at all. So all those things are important. So great shots we defined as a score in range with time. In range with time, okay? So in the All-Ireland final this year, one of the girls, the first 2 shots of the game, she kicked wide. And we were able to send Ken in and just go in and say, great shots, that's all. And I know 10 years ago, it would have been wrong, but you put the fucking thing over the bar. Like, I mean, everybody knows put the ball over the bar. That's of no benefit to the player. But that's, and we think at times on the sideline, we all are like this, that if I give my peace of mind, I'm really helping them. But sure, what am I doing? All I'm doing is setting them backwards. It's bad enough, like the cauldron is tough enough without us adding pressure to them. We're supposed to be helping them. Now, that situation helped her. Not, you know, so obviously the shots she had taken weren't great shots, right? But the message was great shots. So that's a completely different message. And I remember 2 years ago, the lads were playing Lucan in a league semi-final or something, and I went out the game, I was late, I was coming from a course, and the young fella who takes our frees had missed the first 3 or 4, which was quite significant. And I was told this, and when I arrived, Keane was his name, and I shouted into him, "Keane, clean strike." Now that information, that language is 100 miles away from what I would have used 10 years ago. 100 miles away. But for the player, it's so much more important, all right? So, I'll give you actually an interesting one. We were talking about this recently. I was at a PE thing, and I was talking about the language to PE teachers. In a game of bench ball about 4 weeks ago with first years in the school, I used the term step up, as you do, Mark, and I saw this kid go over to the bench. She didn't understand the terminology, which is 100% understandable, right? So how much language do we use that they actually don't understand? So you have to be very clear in the fact that the language we use, and that language, 1 word or 2 words in a game, is so important. Like, you don't have to give a conversation, it's 2 words, right? Step up, switch the play, 3 seconds, right? Whatever it is, okay? Or, great shots, okay? That's language, and it's so important when you go out to the game that the language you use is common, and that it's not complicated, okay?